Yes, indeed. Good morning.
What's happening?
Hey, welcome to the RemiX morning show here at Black Power Media. I just couldn't help notice right off the top that we both in red. We got our Tiger Woods championship winning red on. It must be we must be victorious today.
Oh, of course. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Reparations in blood. That's how we starting this thing off. George Jackson, we win it. What it do? It's popping. It's populating out there. Remixes.
Yes,
In the
indeed.
building.
Yes, indeed. I'm Jared Ball.
Hey.
Your favorite morning show, Boom Bap Breakfast. I'm Jared Ball. That's Kalanji Changa.
That's
right. We holding it down again this morning.
That's how we do.
You know, Sister Kim Brown couldn't make it in this morning. She'll be back as soon as possible. Kamal, who knows where he's at the moment?
Tell him where he at, man.
Pushing the kids out the car on the way to school or some morning program or wherever they are.
Doing a performance in his new Prince outfit. Who knows?
Yes, it
it can happen around here.
It might. You'll let us know. I'm sure. I'm sure you know the pictures of that are on their way. I'm sure.
Hey man, watch your mouth. I owe you. Let's not get it started. Cat came with 2 wrong food. Dead wrong. He's in violation. But I'm gonna let that slide though. Remixes. We ain't even.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, you're not. Don't let him fool you. Don't let the smile fool you. Yes, indeed. Welcome, Osiris Jamal is a new member to the Black Power Media family. Welcome very much. Thank you very much for joining us, and we encourage folks to do the same. You are here for the good Boom Bap Breakfast. There is no morning show like this. We have a lot coming throughout this program. Stories to get to. The ear doctor's of course here. Sister May is here helping things run smoothly. So we'll definitely at least be seeing and hearing from the ear doctor for sure. Got a number of stories, got a couple new segments we're going to launch this morning as well.
No doubt.
Including I have a question. Am I tripping?
Whoa.
Which we'll get to next hour. And a discussion of a new film, which will lead us to a better discussion of our top 3 films. And then, of course, we also got the news coming up as well. But all that said, man, how you doing this morning, Kalanji?
Hey, man, I'm alive on arrival. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy to be here. 8 million stories in the naked city. You know, the remix, you know, waking us up this morning, you know. We your new hot coffee. Ain't nothing stronger than that. You know what I mean? I'm going to stay away from the chats today. The nail jokes ain't popping, y'all. So y'all can fall back on that. You know what I mean?
Nah, man. Hey, look. Only the strongest. You know how it is, though, Kalanji. Only the strongest survive, man.
Oh, I already know, man. Hey, man, you know, I ain't making no complaints or whatever. You know, but yeah. I'm feeling real good this morning.
Right on.
Because of the fact that we still here. You know what I'm saying? The Remix morning show.
Yeah. Real quick, I do want to give a big shout out to Sister Jackie Lukman and her family, and the beautiful service they had yesterday for Brother Abdus. And it was you know, of course, not the occasion we would want to have, you know, be the cause of the gathering, but it was good to, you know, at least, you know, see Jackie. Give her a big hug on behalf of the BPM crew, and see some other good folks as well, and you know, to send him on his way, and you know, but so shout out to him, and Sister May's video was played as well, the beautiful tribute she put together. In a very short period of time too, so that was nice. No and anyway, so shout out to everybody, and of course the Lukman Nation, and for that powerful and beautiful homegoing.
Yeah, that's crazy that it was actually 1 week ago today that we found out. Not even a full week.
That's right.
Found out what went on, and he's already, you know. He's been buried and all that, you know what I mean? So definitely we're gonna miss our brother Abdus, you know what I'm saying? Looking into the camera like somebody else Kamal was talking about yesterday. We ain't gonna get into that right now. How you doing, brother Kamal? Brother Kamal. How you doing?
Good. Oh, that's a lot of energy. I'm doing really good, man. How you feeling? You doing good?
No. But anyway, I'm feeling good. I'm good.
Wow.
How you, man? I mean, we good to see you back on the screen on time today. Got that 808 coming in, 808 bass.
You know, that's good. That's good time for me. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Yesterday was no show at all, so I'm going to improve slightly day after day after day.
He's
And hopefully
admitting
I'll
it.
catch up.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, the remixer said they're gonna be happy to hear your stories that you're gonna be running today. So we just as excited. You know what I mean?
Good. Let's see what pops out of my mouth. All right then.
8 million stories. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. What's good with you, man? You all right? You ain't come in uniform like the rest of us today. I guess you ain't get the memo.
He didn't get the memo.
My bad. Is it about to be a war with the Crips today? I didn't know that. I need you to be prepared for that. My bad. Sorry about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get back.
Shout out to all my street organizations out there, all my joints. Please forgive Kamal.
Oh my God,
you know
whatever he's doing,
whoever
he's offending, please forgive us.
My bad, y'all.
I have no idea what this man's talking about. Clearly, he's from Sesame Street. That's the only street that he been on. But it's all good. That's my man still. Anyway, what else we got popping today?
I don't even know, man. We have a number of good stories to get to, of course. I'm still reeling off a little bit off of that sniper joint that I'm still trying to catch up to. And they did not do the part. At least they haven't yet, but they kind of glossed over the part I was looking for on the FBI agent that was killed. And you know, I don't want to get, I have heard the conspiracy theories and I find some of them fascinating, I don't necessarily want to support or promote them, but I did think it was interesting that they didn't talk about there was no commentary, if I can remember correctly, even from the FBI themselves. You know, with some of the other victims, they talked to some of the family members, you get some of the backstory, but with her, there was very little, including the part that I remember at the time was most fascinating, that none of the top brass went to her funeral. Which was part of the claim at the time that her killing was connected to a destruction of the apparatus that was actually supposed to be tracking down bin Laden and his crew after 9/11. And she was head of the task force here. And as I mentioned before, Valerie Plame, the CIA agent, was overseas doing that work, and her network was exposed right around that same exact time through the exposure by President Bush of Plame's husband's work. So anyway, it was just that one piece kind of stuck out to me that I thought was interesting, that even in a documentary that clearly wants to show the struggles from the perspectives of the police as they went to track this down, that there wouldn't have been some additional praise for the work of the federal law enforcement and the loss that they also incurred. But anyway, that was just something I haven't been able to get out of my head that I thought I'll just throw out there this morning. But
what is the connecting conspiracy theory here, though?
Well, that one conspiracy that was introduced to me years ago was that the goal was that there was no real desire to track down bin Laden, because it would then expose the fact that he and his network had nothing to do with 9/11. So that the whole thing of chasing bin Laden, where this FBI agent and Valerie Plame's network were actually trying to do the work of tracking down this network, which the conspiracy would claim had nothing to do with 9/11 anyway. And were they to actually be caught and tracked down and God forbid put on any trial, it would of course be exposed that they had nothing to do with it. So the goal of the conspiracy, as this story was to shut down the actual pursuit of the bin Laden network, because then it would either expose they had nothing to do with it, or they were also connected to all the federal government and Western support networks, of course, which the family, that part is well documented, is true. But as far as the connection to 9/11, that part is still, So anyway, that was.
Wait a minute, but what about the connection to the sniper? Now I'm intrigued. You didn't mention I'm sorry. Well, that the point would be that the killing, that instead of the killings of that either Muhammad and Malvo were not the actual shooters,
or that whatever they were involved in was meant to be a cover for getting rid of this FBI agent, as opposed to the story that we're being told, which is that all of the killings were a cover for them to get his wife. So when I first heard the conspiracy, and people would say, well, that sounds ridiculous, because the idea that the government would kill people to cover the fact that they were killing one target. But I said at the time, it is being reported in this series, but the story, the popular narrative, is just the same thing in a different setting, that they are killing all these people to cover up the fact that their real target was Muhammad's wife. So I'm saying if Muhammad and Malvo can come up with that scheme, certainly, so anyway, not that I'm not pushing it. I'm just saying that
I just wanted to know. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't necessarily buy the conspiracy, but the concept sounds reasonable. I personally was going to put out that I thought the Crips did it, and that's why we were lighting it up today to go get that action on it.
Anyway, I don't even know what to say with that.
Sorry,
but moving right along,
I
would like to give a born day shout out to Minister Servant. You know what I'm saying? Right in the building. You know what I mean? Turned 57 years old.
Damn,
you know what I mean? Hip hop grandpa ass cat. You know what I mean?
Great grandpa, I heard.
Well, your great grandpa.
And even though he's part of the Renegade Culture Crew, he had to come to our Mix What I Like to have his story told. So please go check out that interview and learn about that dear brother. And happy birthday to Minister.
Hey man, definitely shout out to that interview. I think it got like 3 views, but yeah, he definitely
his son, his grandson, and his great grandson.
And
I had my daughters push play on that too, so that's 5.
Jared's daughter hit it by mistake. She's like, man, this ain't what the hell I was supposed to be watching. So anyway, shout out to our brother Minister Serve out there.
Yes, indeed.
Always holding us down. And forget what Jared. You see, Jared's always trying to cause
dissension in the crew
all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's that beige on beige crime. Anyway, this is the remix. You know what I mean? And we happy to see man. I don't have my glasses on today, so it's
so let's just we just bring up the ear doctor who sees everything from where he is.
Oh, yes, he does.
He is that's
above the clouds.
Above the clouds.
Good segue. Excellent.
Hey, big up to all y'all out there. And I see we got Kamal with his Old Navy shirt on. He must be fighting against the old Marines. Word.
They got dad jokes. Like he got his dad shirt on.
What's wrong with those stripes?
No. It's not a Costco shirt. I'm happy to see that. So we're going to go ahead and get to the weather report right about now on the Remix Morning Show.
That's our media.
Yeah, Remix. Kabal shirt, do work.
What's good, y'all? I'm trying to wear a tight shirt like Jared Ball. You know what I'm saying? I'm choking over here. Let me loosen the button. But anyway, welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I am the Ear Doctor, and this is Black Power Media, and it's time to give y'all the weather, because whether you know it or not, it's the weather.
Did the ear doctor freeze up? You muted. Everybody's muted now. Everybody's muted.
He definitely froze up. I was sitting there looking. I'm like, man, did we freeze or did he freeze?
I did that. You can't talk jokes. You can't make jokes about my tight shirt and get away with it. So I had to get him out of here.
You froze.
I froze him.
Oh man,
the best weather report he's ever done. I've never seen a better weather report in my life.
Exactly. That was colder than the white man.
Don't talk about colder than the white man. Hey, I'll make sure I don't say nothing about neither one of y'all shirts, because I don't want that problem, man. You know,
talking about with your t-shirt that barely has a collar on it, dragging down your navel.
I was on your side, brother.
I was on your side, brother. Yeah, it was on shit. I like to remain professional on these airways.
On these airways. Well,
Anyway.
look. I tell you what. Let's get to the news a little early, and then when he gets himself back together, we can come on back and get the weather report and the colder than the white man and all the other stuff that the ear doctor has for us. So, if we can, Sister May, can we spin that globe and hit the news?
8 million.
Right on. Welcome back to the RemiX Morning Show, your boom bap breakfast. We get into some news right here, right now. Kalonji, you want to jump out there first, or
I'm gonna go ahead and let you rock on first, man, and then I'm gonna hop back.
Where you find your glasses?
Hey, yo, man. Hold on, man. Let me address something real quick. I know Kamal didn't say that about my collar, and I just happened to look up. I can see that raggedy rib sock collar that you got, brother.
This is style, brother. This is style. You understand what style
his
is?
shirt look like one of them old ass socks. You know, when your socks get too big, they get stretched out.
I want talking about shirts with this dripping.
You can see your nipples with your shirt, man. Chill. See your nipple piercings.
Your polyester shirt on. You little polyester wearing.
This shirt is fly. Man, get up out of here.
Anyway, 12 years old.
Yeah, you go ahead and continue with the news with your tight ass shirt.
After the globe, and after the globe goes, you can't do jokes. It's all about news, son.
Oh yeah, okay, my bad.
He's just messing up the whole.
I'm messing it up.
Yeah, you messing it up. That's why Kamal was right. When we spin the globe, that's supposed to cleanse all the silliness out.
Hey, listen, man. Listen.
Focus.
Y'all ain't gonna beige attack me today, brother. We ain't going out like that. So y'all already froze me, man. The ear doctor joint. So now I'm left out here alone. But go ahead.
All right. Well, let's start with something pretty simple here that I saw the other day. Just a simple tweet from the Gravel Institute. Just another reminder. We've been talking about this already, but I just like to constantly remind folks where we are in this economic reality. If we don't need it, at least from the other end, I think we understand the suffering on our end quite well. But I just like to remind people that, as they point out here, 8 men control more wealth than the world's 3.6 billion poorest people. Here's what a few of them pay in taxes. So of the 8 who control more wealth than 3, that's about, what is that? Just about half of the planet. Jeff Bezos paid less than 1%, 0.98% in taxes. Michael Bloomberg paid 1.3%. Elon Musk got gouged. He must feel terrible by comparison because he paid 3.2%. And Warren Buffett, who's always out here running around with people like Jay-Z saying they want to be like him and talking about how he's upset that he pays more taxes than his secretary, is still able to somehow not pay any taxes at 0.10%. So whenever we're hearing about, again, there is the scam side of economics in general, that it's all a social construct in many ways that can be rearranged as anybody would want. But here again, whenever we're told all the time that there's no money for healthcare or Kamal's kids' daycare programs or for anything. One of the main reasons is because the wealthiest in the world, whose wealth is made by extracting the labor and the resources from us and the planet, they aren't creating it by themselves. They're not even paying their fair share of taxes on it. While I know I just paid out our families, I just watched what we paid out, and I was like, good, goobly goop, as Grady used to say. And I look at this, and I'm like, hold up now. If anything wants to inspire a reference, as Kalonji made at the beginning, to George Jackson, this right here should do
it. Yeah. That's definitely.
Well, I think the other thing that goes with that again is that these so-called benevolent billionaires then go around touting how much money they give away, right? Which is really just a cover for them to not be able to be targeted for the fact that they have all this incredible wealth. They don't pay their taxes. They want to direct economies, direct production, scales of production, and all the rest of it, and want to act like through their private hands is how we should decide people's fate. Where, that's the whole reason for a taxation system which should be fair and even, is to make sure that these people and a state apparatus, again, something that's really democratic, not what we have here, but something that's really democratic, gets to decide where those resources go and how they benefit large amounts of people. It shouldn't be up to people with private wealth to give charity in order to make up for the fact that they decided that they don't want to and are not going to pay taxes. And the whole government apparatus allows that to happen.
And I think they also said in 20 years, Bezos is going to be the first trillionaire. And I think people are preparing to actually celebrate this. Like, we've created a trillionaire. And on one hand, that phrase is correct. We have created the wealth that he is walking away with, but no trillionaire or billionaire or even millionaires at this point should exist. But go ahead, Kalonji, my bad.
Listen, man, I quote T.I., and it's a bad day in America when I quote T.I., and I say that we deserve it if we allow it. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, all the billions of people. What do we have? Like 8 billion people on the planet. You know what I'm saying? The fact that we can allow a small percentage to come in and eat off of the whole while the whole starve is something that we deserve, because of the fact that until we decide to get organized, until we get structured, until we stop playing games and allowing all these clowns on a micro level to operate the way they operate, and then this is what we get. You know what I mean? But it starts with the Sean Kings. It starts with the BLMs and folks like that who are on a small level, because of the fact that even those folks who are parasites and eating the crumbs off the leftover crumbs, you're not even allowing, you know what I'm saying? We down at the bottom of the barrel together, and you're still trying to hoard the crumbs, opposed to us all eating and getting strong enough to go ahead and topple the top. So, this is what we asked for. This is what we get. You know what I mean? So my father.
Hey, speaking of which, yeah. I'm sorry, my bad. Sorry about that. Your father used to say?
No, he used to say, if you like it, I love it, man. You know what I'm saying? If you enjoy this, which clearly we must enjoy it, then this is what we get, man.
I thought he used to say, I won't be home for dinner again.
Yeah, because he's with your mom. But anyway, he said, I'll be your Kamal's mom, so I won't be.
I knew it. I knew it.
It's about to, there's no real referee today, so it's about to be on.
I knew it. I just knew it. As soon as he said, as soon as I set it back up for you to say what your father said, I knew something was
I already knew it. It was cool though. You know what I'm saying?
But speaking, you actually laid out a nice segue to something I forgot that you sent us the other day, yesterday, yes. Kalonji, that I think we should go ahead and just check out again, because you mentioned this dude, and this is from Samaria Rice's, the mother of Tamir Rice, still looking for justice for her murdered son, killed by the police in Cincinnati. But she wrote here on Instagram, is this yesterday or just the other day?
Yeah. That was yesterday. To Mary Rice. Yes.
Okay. To Sean King. Why do you think it is so important to tell folks we had a conversation? We had talked, we talked, and everything that was said was very toxic and uncomfortable for me to hear, that you raised additional money and then say you did not want to bother me. Personally, I don't understand how you sleep at night. I never gave you permission to raise nothing. Along with the United States, you robbed me for the death of my son. You gave me a cop and a donut conversation. Damn, that's that line right there, boy. All lies, Sean. Please stop thinking we on the same page. As a white man acting black, you are an imposter that cannot be trusted. My son was 12 years old, and the DOJ needs to reopen this case, period. Tamir human rights was violated. Why would you so ever make it about you? You are a selfish, self-centered person, and God will deal with you, white man. Damn.
She can't turn a phrase, B. I'm going to give it to her. She can turn a phrase. She knows she can dig deep in them. So I'm going to give her some credit there. And again, people don't like to explore that story with Sean King, but he does have that sort of story where he talks about how his mother, if I'm not mistaken, had an affair, and he says this publicly, had an affair, and that's, that was his father. That's the story he's told. But he ain't no baby pictures, ain't no nothing. And he's taken that story and weaved it into a career of activism and hijacking. I mean, I can completely concur with her. Hijacking resources, paying salaries, making himself popular. And it's just an amazing world that we live in, that folks can get away with that and still get support. And again, like, noting something that Kalaji was pointing out, support not just from folks who have some resources, but from folks on the ground who seem to be either easily tricked and or fooled, or we so much want to believe in something that will give resources to somebody who comes up with a cockamamie kind of conspiracy story about how they wound up being Black. And so therefore, they can just be the leader of Black issues and start collecting resources and paying themselves and their family.
Yeah.
He does. My bad. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No. And it goes back to what I was saying a little earlier, in regards to, and I saw someone mention that, folks feeling helpless, right? Now, again, there are 8 billion people on the planet. You know what I mean? We don't feel helpless when we are turning guns against each other. We don't feel helpless when we are attacking each other because of the situations that we're in. I know that there's a fear of repercussion because of the fact that, of course, with the whole slavery situation, we've been beaten into submission, and we've gone through centuries of this type of situation, which is all the more reason why folks like the Sean Kings and like I said, the BLMs and some of these other characters, all the more reason why we have to check that shit at the door. You know what I mean? We got to go beyond. And when saying this, it's not like saying, okay, we got to get physical, whatever, so on and so forth. We have to point out the bounce. All of us who consider ourselves organizers, who consider ourselves freedom fighters, we got to say, look, this is some bullshit. And wherever they show up, we should be there protesting their bullshit and saying, listen, this is how we operate with families. This is how we operate with community. And until then, this will play out until the end of time, until folks get so fed up that there is that the powder keg explodes. But at this particular moment in time, it don't seem like it's going to be any time soon because of the fact that the state keeps feeding us with more and more misleaders, more and more misguiders to take us to a promised land that is more like a what do you call that in the desert? Not a facade, mirage. Yes, mm-hmm. and that's what it is. We have a mirage of freedom, a mirage of liberation, and it's like we're not going to get there by there's no pot of gold at the end of this rainbow, man.
Yeah, I agree with both of you largely. I would just want to add that to Sean King's performance. First of all of us have been forced to step into a vacuum in this post COINTELPRO moment, or continuing COINTELPRO, not really post, but of the destruction of our more organized and I agree, like with what David Gilbert and others have said years ago about with the more scientific wing of our struggle being attacked, we're left with a lot of this mysticism and a lot of this confusion. But I've seen Sean King step in. I agree, Kamau. This. For all he's done with his identity and all that is continuing to be said about his claims and this and that, my biggest issue is the way politically he has been allowed to come in and take center stage because he represents this very, from I think my point of view, and I think many of ours on this platform, a soft liberal approach to criticizing the situation and organizing or responding rather. So he's been welcomed, his identity notwithstanding, because of those politics. He could have been the darkest, whatever. He would have been welcomed because of this performative thing. I mean, he is the complexion parallel, I think, to people like DeRay McKesson. They're welcomed in. But with Sean King, there are lots of stories about this. That what Samaria is bringing up is there seems to be an endless line of stories behind Sean in relationship to which is why even for whatever people have said about it, whatever people may think about it, the summit on accountability that we hosted with Dr. Joy James and her work trying to put that together, I know was an attempt to address this. And I know Samaria Rice had initially been invited to participate. And so the last thing I want to say about this is that, again, as we've also talked about, one of the big problems is that even the victims' families and mothers are are left to themselves take center stage in an area of politics and organizing that they're maybe not best suited for or prepared to deal with. So all of these contradictions and things are going on, allowing for a lot of shadiness and nonsense to occur. So anyway, I think, particularly with the two of you and the organizations you work with, I think this is, and have been working with, this is why I think that work is so important, that we be involved with and supporting. Some of
the accountability summit. I think that was a good start, but I think there needs to be another one with I would say some more seasoned veterans. You know what I'm saying? There were some good people on there. You know what I'm saying? But some more seasoned vets who can provide a clearer analysis as to what's going on, because a lot of times we get caught up in emotionalism and sensationalism, and we make it just about one particular group of individuals or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? We have to address this shit holistically because of the fact that there will always be Jesse Jacksons, there will always be Al Sharptons and BLMs and Sean Kings until we get to the root of the problem and say, look, this right here is counter-revolutionary. This goes against what it is we're going for, and we have to be able to point it out and set these people down. But until we're in an organized state of mind and being, then we will move like individuals, and this person over here give them a pass because of the fact that they're hitting them off with a few of them breadcrumbs they got. This person over here will join the organization and become the mentor or the OG or whatever because of the fact that, to protect them and to be a buffer against folks that are willing to go ahead and move the crowd.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, lastly, I wanted to just before you go on, I just wanted to, I think people have many names for the concept. I call it movement capture, where like what folks have talked about is post COINTELPRO, let's say, or even before. Let's go back before COINTELPRO. This was, as stated, something that was already there. But post the killing off of what you said, the scientific wing and/or the militant wing of Black organizing and Black militancy and even left-wing militancy in the 60s and 70s, obviously this was what was left to give to us and to rise and to be in our face and to be given whatever media attention is to be given for something like this kind of activism and organizing. The liberal media completely supports, puts out there, gives these folks editorial space, gives these folks interview space, makes them prominent, and then feeds them back to us in this loop by giving them the resources and speaking engagements and so on. When then that is set up to douse the flames of anything more militant, anything more to its left, and to leave us with these ideas that strictly through civic engagement, strictly through policy, we're going to somehow solve these issues of racial violence against our community, when we know that's just not the case.
Right. Right on. To add on to that, I would like Jared. I do have a story, but I think that fits in with what we're talking about right now. Kind of fits in with the need for folks to assist in the continued building of a Black Power media because of the story that Jared's going to rock on the whole Press TV thing. Yeah. I think that that's important. Right on. Did you want to get to your story next, or should we? Well, I mean, it's all good. I think that I can go to my story, but definitely we need to address that particular piece though. Oh, we're going to. I just wanted to make sure cool. We got but as we get ready to go to Kalanji's story, everybody, I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but let's just go ahead and offer up a trigger warning just in case, given what given his tendencies. So everybody just get ready. Yeah. And I think it is a trigger warning. I mean, based on yesterday's story, but I wanted to address this particular issue. In New York, there was a situation with a brother by the name of Tristan Goods. Him and his family were traveling on the highway, and a state trooper pulls them over. The state trooper says that they're speeding, and as they pass by his car rattled, and Tristan said, well, listen, your car rattled because of the 18-wheeler that came that was driving in front of me. So anyway, the cop he's going back and forth with Tristan and his family. He had 2 daughters and a wife inside of the car, his 11 and 12-year-old children, his daughters. And he decides, the cop says, listen, I mean, he's going back and forth with him, and his wife is like, listen, I'm tired or whatever, something to that effect, can you just give us a ticket? The cop says, I don't give a damn about you being tired or whatever, so on and so forth. He leaves, goes back to his cruiser, comes back and starts to spray the entire car with pepper spray. Now, he is aware that these 2 little girls in the back seat, but he decides to, without warning, just to, pepper spray the entire car. So Tristan panics. He's like, hey, this guy's trying to kill us. So he takes off, drives off like, I guess anybody with any type of sense would make an effort to do. You're not going to just sit there and let your whole family be pepper sprayed. So the cop bumps the car and, he keeps on driving. He bumps the car again, and the car actually flips over the guardrail. Okay. His daughter, his 11-year-old, I believe, was ejected from the car. Okay. So as the car is upside down, they're trying to get out and go look for his daughter, whatever, the cop pulls a gun on him still. And he's asking them the same question he asked him before: did they have any drugs or guns in the car? So while this man, whose daughter was just ejected because your punk ass hit his car and rammed him off the road and flipped his car over, his daughter's ejected, and you know this. You still have a gun on him, talking about some guns and drugs. So Tristan finally spoke out about this situation. I believe it happened in December. But this is yet again another example of why these racist pigs need to be stopped. I mean, I could not imagine. This is this man's child. Their family was violated in so many ways. You know what I mean? And you still have a gun on me. I think you'd have had to shoot me, man. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that I couldn't imagine being able to just stand there and deal with this situation. My heart goes out to this family and to the countless other victims. But again, this is one of the reasons why we have to make sure that some of these ambulance chasers are in check, because of the fact that they capitalize off of situations like this. Because oftentimes the families don't have, may not be politically astute as far as politically educated, or they may not have the wherewithal or the understanding of who's who and who the wolves are. You know what I mean? So another reason why we have to attack this thing on all angles, from all angles.
Yeah, Kamal, I don't know if you have anything to say about that. I'm feeling another, sort of rush of a set of emotions that make me think it's best to say nothing or as little as possible, because I don't know what else to say about this other than we need some sort of organized response that changes this dynamic.
Period.
Yeah, no, I would only add that, and it goes to that, the lack of any possible reform that's going to happen, that's going to be anything substantial, that's going to stop these cops from brutalizing our people. Because this is the very nature, the very authoritative nature of policing in America, where it's all about being in charge, it's all about their respect, it's all about their racism. And you're not training that out of them, because that's embedded in the very fabric of who these beings are and the institutions that they've created.
Let me say it this way. So last night, right, I drop off, it's the end of a long day, right? I'm tired. I drop off my man at his soccer practice. It's for me late at night. It's already approaching 9 p.m. Eastern. I pull up to the light. I stop at a light, and I'm sitting there, and I'm starting to feel that sense of good, right? I feel good. My day's over. I don't have to pick the brother up. Like, that ride is taken care of. I'm chilling. Like, I'm good. I've got my song on. I'm getting ready to relax. And all of a sudden, boom, somebody bumps into the back, hits me. I'm just sitting there at the light. Somebody pops me a little bit in the back of the car. My initial reaction is fury. I can't help that. My initial reaction is, God damn, how you my vibe is messed up. Never mind my ride. I don't know what's happened to the ride, but my vibe is messed up. My long day is. I get out of the car and I see that it's two brothers with two young children in the back of their car. And immediately my mood drops like 1,000%. And I'm just seeing the children was like, all right, how angry or how bad can it be? You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't want to hurt their own children. I don't want to get upset and cause trauma for their children. Blah, blah, blah. Long story short, there's no real damage. The brothers get out. We dap each other up, move on, peace, have a good evening. My point in all of that is that the dynamic in that interaction was very different. The cop sees the sister in the back of the children in the back of this car, doesn't care. Pepper spray, run them off the road, eject from the car, whatever, I'm still whatever. My reaction to seeing children in the back of their car is the exact opposite, when again, I had actually been done wrong. Like, they hadn't done anything wrong to this cop. Like, technically I had license to be at least a little upset, but I'm like, nah, man, it's not that deep. And I'm certainly not going to take it to the level of anybody has to be hurt, especially somebody's children. Especially when my number one mission is to get home to mine. So I just feel, but the only way, my point in that is to Kamal's point, is that the only way this is going to happen is if there is an organized, imposed change to this dynamic. And I don't know how to be more specific than that. Honestly, I don't know how to be more specific.
Yeah.
But anyway.
we really have to understand. I mean, until we look at these things as monsters, because of the fact that when you do shit like that, you are a monster. You understand what I'm saying? What you're talking about is a human experience. What you're talking about is having emotion. What you're talking about is loving life and having respect for other human beings in spite of how you feel. You understand what I'm saying? In spite, because of the fact that you're saying that, okay, this car can be replaced, but these children right here, you understand what I'm saying? This can be a moment that can just spiral into some other shit that is totally, absolutely unnecessary. And you can wake up in the morning, do the remix, everything's cool. Or you could bug out, be locked up, shot, whatever the case, hurt someone else, you know what I'm saying, over some material bullshit, but you're civilized. You understand what I'm saying? So we deal with these monsters who are backed, who are sanctioned killers. You understand what I'm saying? They have a license to murder us, destroy us, and get away with it. And they're sponsored by the same corporations that, like you said earlier, when you talked about the Jeff Bezos and things of that nature, we are building this system. We feed this system. You understand what I'm saying? So we're feeding the very monster that will bite us and devour us whenever we choose to. You know what I'm saying? And in turn, they create a nigger machine. And that nigger machine happens to be us, how they force all this other shit on us, and how we are intrigued by the same violence that is bestowed upon us daily. You understand what I'm saying?
That's why PE talked about the anti-nigger machine, and that's why the late great Gil Scott Heron told us at HBCUs to not turn those institutions, as I think too many of them are, into nigger factories.
That's right.
So, but let me just quickly, two quick stories to shift to the one that happened the other day. The Supreme Court allows more athlete compensation. The reason that to me this story is important, I admit this, I'm on my pettiness this morning with this one, is that to me this part here is in response to everybody that was telling us that we had to vote for Biden because he would more likely appoint liberal federal judges that would benefit us on some level. And I say that to say that just quickly, the U.S. Supreme Court cleared the way for greater compensation for student athletes in a decision that may loosen the National Collegiate Athletic Association's grip over college sports. Unanimously rejecting the NCAA's bid for a broad antitrust immunity, the High Court on Monday upheld an order that will let member schools provide more education-related benefits, including computers, internships, and academic achievements awards. First of all, this is nothing. I just want to note that this is nothing. They're making billions of dollars. Students should be going for free in perpetuity. Their children should go for free. We all should go for free. What am I even talking about? But the real reason that I brought this up to just hate on the people who keep telling us we had to vote for Not that I'm saying we should have voted for a Republican or Trump, but this Kavanaugh opinion I thought was very interesting. I know it's getting some news because the reason he defended, he sided with the student athletes in this case is because he says here that nowhere in America can businesses get away with agreeing not to pay their workers a fair market rate on the theory that their product is defined by not paying their workers a fair market rate. And under ordinary principles of antitrust law, it is not evident why college sports should be any different. And so again, he's making the correct assessment here as a Republican conservative appointed Supreme Court judge who's making the quote unquote correct decision, despite the fact that he was not appointed by Biden, and despite the fact that Biden, particularly in federal courts dealing with immigration right now, is putting Trump appointed judges in there. So just for me, this is less a story about the NCAA than it is about this nonsense that we have to vote for Democrats to get federal judges on this fantasy that's going to help us. But anyway, that was this one story I wanted to bring up, and before we get to this last piece on Press TV. But did either of you want to have say anything about that?
Yeah, but only that the decision obviously it's minimal in terms of, like you were saying, any what I caught when I first read that story a day or so ago was the minimal compensation efforts. It's not even a scheme of putting compensation, but a free computer. Right. I got so I'm breaking bones. So getting my bones broken. I'm bringing in billions of dollars in this institution. I probably will never go on to play professional sports. And the way in which the degree is even enacted, I won't learn much at the college itself. So I'm doing all of this and I get a free computer. And again, these colleges, these football coaches sign multi-million-dollar deals to build different wings of their schools. So even the idea that they're slowly walking down this gradualism around some payment or some compensation for the time and energy and work that's put into making this sport happen seems ridiculous at this point. Yeah.
So so this other story, just real quick, because I know we're up on the clock here, but does deserve a good amount of attention. We should probably even come back to the ramifications of this and what it means for us at BPM and beyond. But yesterday, I subscribe. I mentioned it before in the context of being critical of his lack or his refusal to cover Mumia and other political prisoners. But Richard Medhurst, I think, has a very good YouTube channel where he talks a lot about the issues regarding the state, and in this case, the so-called Middle East. He's from Syria, speaks multiple languages, does a good job. And of course, he had a show at Press TV, which was one of the targets of this U.S. blocking of websites linked, as they claim, to Iranian disinformation. So if you go to presstv.com or whatever it was, this is the warning that comes up. Now, remember, this is an Iranian news outlet based in Iran that the United States is summarily shutting down as a website based on its own claims of misuse and abuse of the Bureau of Industry and Security Office and Expert Enforcement and Federal Bureau of Investigation policies. Notably here, whatever this docket number is here. But it wasn't just Press TV. It was a number of sites. This one from Yemen. Let's see, another one from I don't know exactly where this is from. alalamtv.net. But anyone seen as being friendly to Iran, Al Masira TV, which is out of Yemen, and again, Yemen being still, I don't know what the exact way is. It is genocide? Is it imperial invasion? U.S. supporting Saudi Arabia's destruction of Yemen. So the idea that so if people in Yemen want to say, hey, stop doing that, their website can just be shut down. Anyway, so this is Now, again, Richard Medhurst and others should be just as upset at the relative press blackout of Mumia and Sundiata and Asada and other political prisoners. And he should be just as upset about that as he is about Julian Assange and other abuses. But this story to me is very telling and draconian, and something that we at BPM should be at least paying attention to, because we are certainly prone to take, positions in politics that will be seen as threatening as well.
Yeah, this is a very interesting story, because we were just talking about Press TV yesterday, right?
That's right.
I actually I did an interview with Press TV last week, and I'm actually scheduled to do a podcast interview with them today. And
so, in other words, we've uncovered the real reason for the shutdown then.
Because of the fact that they said that I knew Dr. Jared Ball. They said this shit here must stop. Now it's cool with you interviewing these other folks, but don't mess with Black Power Media. But seriously though, seeing this, and this is a reminder to us, if they can shut down websites in other countries, you know what I mean, who they don't even you don't even have jurisdiction over these countries. But if you can shut down these other websites in these other countries, what can you do to a BPM? You know what I mean? So we need the support of you all, because of the fact that we have to build a structure that surpasses us just being on YouTube. Because the crazy thing about it, Press TV, YouTube had already shut Press TV down on YouTube recently, right? So this is the follow-up. So we don't want you all to turn YouTube on one day and BPM's not on there, and we're like struggling and scrambling to try to figure out how we're going to do this thing. So we need our own servers. We need our own particular position. We need our own mass communication so that we can be able to fight beyond just their tools. We got to go beyond just their Twitter accounts, beyond just their IGs and Facebooks and all that type of stuff, because ultimately we know that we're trying to fight a war on their shit, utilizing their particular stolen resources and soil. So definitely support BPM and other platforms like this, because of the fact that we don't want to be rolling around like Press TV talking about they shut our shit down.
Hey, well, listen, why don't we could bring this certainly back up, but I know we got Ear Doctor coming up. And this is something we should, anyway, continuously talk about. But Ear Doctor, why don't we, bring him back up? He seems to have gotten himself back in. He's back in his son's spot.
Listen, what happens is you're not supposed to talk bad about people. So, Kamal, I apologize about your shirt. Not really, but anyway, something went down. And I'm back. So let's go to the next break. Let's do it like this.
All right, we'll be back here at the Remix Morning Show. Peace, everybody.
Yeah. What's good, everybody out there? I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and right now it is time for a artist spotlight. And what we like to do is we like to give some shine. Usually we have an artist where we have a musician. Today we have more than just a musician. We have an artist and an actual artist. And this artist goes by the name of Sankofa Selassie. So what we're going to do is show you a little time I took out to go sit down and see some of this artist's work. So make sure you can follow her, Art by Sankofa Selassie, after you check this out with me real quick. So let's go to it and do it like this. All right. Yeah. Bam. Sankofa Selassie is here on our artist spotlight. First, I'm looking at all this beautiful artwork, and I'm wondering, where do you draw your inspiration from?
I draw my inspiration from my parents, from my sister, from my siblings, from my friends, from my community, and from DJs. Love is a big part of it. and different kinds of love. My mother taught me when I was young that sexuality and creativity are the same. So one of the ways that I use that information is to interpret it on paper or in paint or in sculptures. So it does have a lot to do with love.
Okay, so would you say that love is somewhat your political and revolutionary stance?
Yes.
All right, Sankofa Selassie. What does Sankofa Selassie mean?
Sankofa is an Akan word, if I'm not mistaken. It's an Adinkra symbol. It's a funerary language hieroglyph, so to speak, a symbol. I wouldn't say hieroglyph, symbol. And it means to look to your past before you go forward. Selassie is, if I'm not mistaken, Trinity. So it comes from the Solomonic lineage in Ethiopia. They have a king that was crowned the last king, which was Haile Selassie the first. And that's my family name.
All right, thank you.
In the spiritual family.
Okay, so how can people contact you and get a hold of you so they can purchase your artwork?
I can be found at www.sankofaselassie.com.
All right, as you see, that is Sankofa Selassie, and she has some dope art. I got to purchase some of this artwork. I got to purchase a picture of my son put into a samurai outfit and my daughter into a samurai pose. And she has some dope coloring books. So check her out once again. If you get a chance to follow her at Art by Sankofa Selassie and go, support the art world. Art world is a place where you can definitely make your money back. You know what I'm saying? It's a good investment. So that is the Artist Spotlight here on the Remix Morning Show with the Ear Doctor. Now let's get back to the crew. Yeah.
Yo, Ear Doctor, please make sure she's at the BPM picnic next month, man.
No doubt.
I'm trying to pick up some gifts.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll let her know.
Gifts for my princesses.
Okay.
Like I said, man, we're gonna span and make sure we get a spotlight on all different types of artists, and that's what we do back here on Black Power Media. Where else can you go for that? No?
Only my man Air Doc. Air Doc to be on the job, y'all. He fronted on the weather this morning. However, he made a comeback. Shout out to Sankofa, you know what I'm saying, out here in ATL. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna come back with the weather report because I got a good colder than the white man segment. So stay tuned. Yeah.
I'm bringing no sunshine.
Peace.
Moonlight. Blame it on the boogie. Anyway. Woo!
All right. So what one thing that Kamal, go ahead, man. I think you wanted to follow up on this Press TV piece, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that, I think the thing that people need to understand is that this is the English language version of these outlets, which means that these outlets are meant to give out the news and information, from the perspective of Iranians or from the perspective of other folks in the Middle East, that may not jive with what we get here in terms of the American version of how the world works, particularly through these private enterprises. So what they offer is alternative views, and whether you like them or don't like them, the idea is that they offer alternative views of what's happening in the world for you to digest and to find some truth in. And so the whole thing about the so-called bastion of freedom, the American enterprise, shutting these institutions down, not because they're necessarily left wing. So we should also get it out of our head. The United States only attacks left wing ideas or things like that. The United States attacks anything that it thinks is counter to its hegemony, both here in the United States and at home. Right? It's a counter attack to anything that's put out there. And that's what they did. They basically shut down, as they've done in the past, as they themselves have media outlets that they cycle all around the world in terms of free radio this or free that. They cycle these things out all around the world, but yet won't even allow its own citizens to hear the ideas of different folks, different perspectives, different news, which a lot of times is a lot closer to the truth than what we get from these private media stations and outlets, who bombard us not only with half truths, but with these bad little award shows, these sports shows, and pure entertainment that takes up 95% of what they throw to us anyway.
Right. I mean, they were just bombing press buildings, what, a month or two ago? You know what I mean? So, you know, it's this is telling you, man, this is like, you know, that's the war machine. The propaganda machine is what they're concerned with. They're not, you know, not concerned with terrorists. They're concerned with the truth. You understand what I'm saying? They're concerned with what we were talking about earlier. They're concerned with not only quote unquote poor Americans, but you know, people around the world. They're concerned with, like, oh, look, this propaganda machine is getting a little too out of hand. We need to be in control of the narrative by any means necessary. If we have to blow the fucking station up, if we have to shut down websites or whatever, that's exactly what they're going to do. And it's amazing how the people, you know, still tunnel vision. You know what I mean? Until they come up in your face and violate you one by one, step by step, you know, it's the same song. Because I don't think that we understand things until, like they say, you don't know that the stove is hot till you touch it. You know what I mean? It's like the babies or whatnot. You can tell them, don't touch the stove, don't touch the stove. And until they tap it a little bit, like, oh shit. You know what I mean? That's what has to happen with the masses, you know?
My bad, everybody. I missed a lot of what Kamal said. It was in this audio shift, so I'm just coming in, you know.
It's all good, man.
A little blind, but you know, usually I miss what Kamal says anyway, and life can still survive. I can, you know, maintain. So you know.
We know you're going to go back later on and listen to this. So you can base the I Mix What I Like show based on it. You know?
Yeah.
That's the he just summarized my whole media career.
Your whole career.
But look,
he's the brains.
If you all had rapped on that, I did want to raise. You know, I had thought for a while that when we had moments in these mornings that there are questions that I have that I want to raise with you all in our BPM Remixer audience. You know, sort of, you know, to say, I have a question or rephrased, am I tripping? And I often am. I admit, you know, I can get petty. I get caught up in my own feelings, my own ego, and all of that. And one of the things that I've noticed, because as I was preparing for today's show, looking for some stories, I've noticed in a number of instances, people that I feel like I have supported in their work mightily for years, popping up all over the place, talking about things that, in other words, let me just say, there's not a level of reciprocity. In other words, so my question to you all and to our audience is, what levels of reciprocity do you think we should expect or look for? Or at what point do we think the lack of reciprocity should lead to some sort of overt discussion or in some way calling someone out in a public setting? At what point is it justified or correct even, or if ever? Or is it just something that if I'm just tripping? Maybe I'm just tripping and I shouldn't be, you know, this is not something that I should be considering at all. But I feel like, in a number of instances, just in the last few days, I've seen a number of people who I feel like, wait a minute, why are you over there talking about that without bringing me in or referencing our work or my support of your work or coming here? Why haven't you responded when I've invited you here? And I'm just like, what is going on when there's not been, to my knowledge, any beef or any issue? And there has been this track record of, at least in my mind, a one-way unidirectional, I've been supporting you for years. You call me when you have, you know, like we've talked about before, when you want that radical bona fide and you want to talk to somebody to make yourself feel better privately, but you don't want to be acknowledged with them publicly. And I'm like, wait a minute, man, I'm sorry. You know, this morning I was feeling the kind of way. So when we had this little gap, I said, you know, maybe I'll raise this as a segment of Am I Tripping? So am I tripping?
Would you like to go first, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're tripping at all. I mean, and all these things have scales, and you have to decide what's what. And you know, sometimes I don't think people should necessarily quote unquote punch below their weight. So if it's somebody with some local cast and their audience is 5 people, you know, you're going to really take your time to do that, which is calling somebody out. But you know, but sometimes you don't want these folks. You're giving more air to what they're doing. But a lot of times it's folks who take your work and like you said, they never give you any acknowledgement. They certainly don't give you any time to air your views and to fully discuss why it is you say that or do. You know, my particular instance, I haven't been a media person, but certainly through my organizing, people have gotten bundles, let's say, in terms of the work that I know that I've been centered at. And then when that work somehow, when I'm no longer involved in that work, through various means, and that work continues and people capitalize off it, further their own personal quote unquote careers, legacies, work, my name doesn't get mentioned. No one offers resources. No one even offers apologies for how things may have went down or so forth. And so I don't have the same issues around media work, but I'd certainly have it around organizing work. But I think at some point, if somebody's, particularly if you still have a good relationship with the person, supposedly, then some first conversation is needed. Particularly if you're talking about an individual that reaches out to you, that's like, look, you did these shows, you referenced some of my work. It would have been good if you at least once have had me on, so I can sort of further elaborate, because we're all trying to get these messages out there. Why deny the opportunity if you're going to use something? Why deny the opportunity to get it from the source itself, as opposed to you talking very surface-wise about things that you haven't studied?
Or worse, they're not referencing the work at all. Like this one brother in particular, man, for years, I saw his thing to this morning. This is why it's so fresh. For years, I have been, he has been someone more prominent in sort of media activist circles, but he would, for years, we would see each other at conferences and build. He would call me, you know, so off the, you know, never with any sort of overt, acknowledgement, but just like, you know, Jared, you know, what do you think about this? Where I'm trying to do this. What do you think about this? I know your politics are more radical than we can do with this work, but you know, blah, 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 blah. And then as soon as he ends up in some space doing some other work where he could have easily brought me in or easily made known that he's building on work or ideas that I've done or been involved with or supported from him, it doesn't happen. And it's like, as soon as I could be traded up on, you know what I mean? Like he could get a more prominent academic or a more acceptable academic, he starts working with them. And I'm like, whoa, that's, you know, anyway. So I was really tempted to be like, you know, my man, like, what's up?
That's that careerism. And to label you and put you in a box, nonetheless, so that they don't.
Even to put somebody as a footnote. Like if you is it I don't think you know, I know historically there are people, if you cite their work you get punished. Like I don't think I'm at that level. It wouldn't be that deep to just say like, and one of the people I consulted was my man Jared, or by the way, he said this same thing.
Right. Well, you know, I mean, with me, I've always been the outcast and the underdog and all that shit. So you know, I'm always surprised when a motherfucker give me credit. I've literally had press conferences where you can see in the background, because goofy motherfuckers behind you forget that the shit's being taped and videotaped and shit, where folks like Ben Crump standing behind me looking like, did you hear what he said? And then 2 weeks later, you see these motherfuckers on CNN or Headline News saying the same goddamn shit I said verbatim. I've seen, I've done lectures and shit where so-called quote unquote prominent lecturers have, we were on the same bill, and I'll go back and say some shit that I said maybe a month or two ago somewhere else. And I actually had this woman stand up and say, well, that sounds good, but I wish you would give brother such and such credit for boom, boom, boom. I said, listen, I'll call brother such and such right now, and you can ask that motherfucker where he got it from. You understand what I'm saying? So with me, I always, you know, I've been blessed with ideas and the ability to create programs and platforms, so on and so forth. A lot of the shit, it might take me 7 years to get off the ground. But I learned a long time ago that you gotta create your own lane and cruise control in that motherfucker. I don't expect anything from anyone. Always put myself in a position where I can't be fired, motherfucker. I always put myself in a position where I have some value. If you don't do that shit, you will forever be wondering why a motherfucker left you out of some shit. I'm always surprised, like you said, footnotes. It's a couple books out now that motherfuckers like, yo, did you know you were cited in such and such? No, because the people might even know me and never contact me because of the fact that they don't even want to give me the motherfucking the thought of them thinking of me. You know what I'm saying? But so they won't get blasted out. They would put the shit in the footnote and say, okay, boom, this came from the such and such, such and such. You know, but like I said, I don't even, you know, I don't sweat that shit. I'm like, you know what? Hey man, fuck y'all, keep it moving. Cause I got too much work to do. I'm trying to get free. You know what I'm saying? Not worry about, you know, what the fuck you think about me. That's just my 2 cents.
I hear you. And the I don't care what I'm thought of is to me different than don't act like you don't think about me at all when you taking my work or doing your work or after you have in other words, let me, you know, I mean, anyway, so anyway, go ahead, come out, go ahead.
No, I mean, I think that's part of, and again, I think there's levels to it. I mean, I you know, sometimes I think social media wise, we had this, like you put up some picture or some drawing, and you get folks who contact you and say, did you give the artist credit for that? Or you use a picture, do you give me credit for that picture? And some of that stuff I think goes too far the opposite way, where it's like, look, it's a social media B. If you put it up yourself, right, and you have to expect other people to use it or whatever. And the bare fact that they're using it, or someone does we had a discussion a few weeks ago, I guess somebody did a picture of a book and somebody's like, why are you using a black woman on that? It's like, you know, I can't use black women now.
That was the Colin Kaepernick joint. Remember that?
Yeah,
when he got in trouble for that. They put a black woman on his book about activism, and black women were like, "What's up?" And he was that one sister was even like, "You got a white mama. Why didn't you put her on the cover?" Now imagine if he had done that.
Yeah, it'd have really been a problem.
Yeah.
Now imagine that.
So sometimes the policing goes too far where it's nonsensical, but there are obviously times where you have to police things that you do. Because again, that's what folks, not only do they take your ideas, they water them down, they give themselves credit for it. And then they receive actual benefit, actual prominence, actual resources. And what's disheartening, but you know, you haven't given all the details, but in your situation, that if it's somebody that you know, that you've built with, and that they don't bring you on, again, for me, it's not even about the reference that they give to you. It's more about if you got somebody who's more of an expert in an area that you know, and you can have that dialogue because you have some platform that allows you to have guests on to talk through these things, and you don't even bring that person on once throughout it sounds like a substantial amount of time in which you guys have known each other. Then that says somebody they're basically not respecting you. They're taking your work and they're trying to get ideas from you and benefit from it without making sure that you don't prosper at all. And some of it could be politics. Some of it could be fear of this person will come and take my place. You know, there's all that stuff embedded in it. But either way, it's just silliness and it's wrong. So
the one component that I forgot to add to this that bothers me about this is that this person and several of the people that I'm thinking of in this particular question know my own particular struggles with my institution and know full well that a public reference to my work or my involvement in support of their work would be beneficial to me. That's the part that people forget or don't often understand about the academic world, that a lot of us are in often even hostile situations with our institutions. And when our work is not publicly acknowledged by other people who damn well should know better, it hurts the work, so in this person in particular, because we have talked over the years in quite a bit of detail about these struggles with my own career and other people's careers, his own, in fact, that it was like, it's like, damn, again, you pop up in a space talking about work where in a space specifically talking this month about Tulsa and media and I'm like, I'm sitting here and I know between me and Too Black and my work historically and my relationship with this dude, you have plenty of cause to bring me back into the conversation on this one. And again, especially at a time when you know full well that it would be helpful to me personally, never mind the politics, so that's part of where I'm coming from with all of this too, by the way.
You also have to remember that oftentimes people don't want you to take their light. You know what I mean? Your shit can be threatening, by appearance, just by you being in the motherfucking space. You know what I'm saying? So, it's easier for a cat to credit or bring on a certain individual who they can tower over. Sometimes these motherfuckers want to be, the HNIC. You know what I'm saying? You want to appear to be the leader of the revolution or the leader of our liberation. You know what I mean? So it's easy to say, okay, well, not him. He's going to say this or she's going to say that, so on and so forth. But, in the mortal words of the capitalist Negro Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? They put me on the cover because I earned for them. You have to do what Ice Cube said. You have to be in one of his joints, he said, cause I'm gone, you thought that I left you all, but I stay in your ass like cholesterol. You leave a fucking mark. You know what I'm saying? You know I came, so I don't give a goddamn what you feel about me, what you think about me. A motherfucker knew I was on the scene, and that's that. And nobody can rewrite that history. You know what I mean? So I don't care. You know what I'm saying? What you said, what Kara say? I don't know what your company's telling you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what your fans are telling you. But you know what I mean? You know what time it is, motherfucker.
That's right. Whatever.
That's how I see it.
Hey, well, I know somebody who shine can never be stolen or diminished. Is our good brother, the ear doctor, and he's back with us to check in. What's up, sir? You muted.
You're on mute, fool.
Hey, I wasn't gonna say nothing about your easy access shirt, but keep it up.
Are you looking for easy access to my shirt, brother?
Yeah, the man said you had a breastfeeding shirt.
I ain't say it, but Kalaji did.
No good, mother.
Yo, I'm gonna give you all a sample. It's about that time. So since it's still June and we celebrating Black Music Month, let's get it.
The remix.
Yeah.
What's good, y'all? Welcome to the Remix Morning Show. I'm the Ear Doctor, and please make sure y'all tell a friend that this show is on again every Tuesday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And also make sure y'all go to patreon.com and drop some change so we can make sure this movement continues. And make sure you join too. Join, be a member, and a part of the team. All right, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to get into our Let Me Give You a Sample segment. So let's start off with this song right here, which dates back to 1976, and it is a song by Esther Williams. That's right, Esther Williams, and it's called Last Night Changed It All. Here we go.
Hello.
Hey, woman, what was you at last night?
Last night changed it all. I really had a ball. Last night changed it all. I really had a ball.
So right there, you can see Esther Williams. She did that thing. Now, how did this one get sampled? Let's think. Let's listen. And let's find out how this one got freaked. By one of Kalanji's favorite groups, Kid and Play. As you can see, like I say, with samples, you can either have the beat, you can either have just the words. This one right here, as you can see, was slowed down actually from the original Esther Williams' Last Night Changed It All, where Kid and Play took it in 1988 and made Last Night. It was a classic. So it was a classic redone. Big up to Kid and Play, big up to Herbie Lovebug, and big up to Esther Williams for coming through and blessing us with some dope sounds like that. So real quick, let's get back to the morning show. Yo.
That's hot.
You know what I thought you was gonna do? I thought he was gonna say, I thought he was coming with Scott LaRock's version. Scott LaRock had the ball.
Yeah.
He is a
superstar. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. I like that.
Yeah, but he want to come with Kid and Play. Oh, sucker MC.
Stop hating on Kid and Play, man. Rest in peace to Scott LaRock. And good morning to Dr. Ichile.
Whoa.
There you go.
Yeah. What's happening, Dr. Ichile?
Everything good. How's everyone here?
Good.
All right.
to be
Kid and Play
expected.
came on the screen.
Oh,
Right.
I catch y'all later.
All right, here, doctor. Hey, real quick before we move on, shout out to the BPM chat. I mean, I checked it out. I was a little nervous at first, but folks are real, it's real, pleasant. I was a little everybody's chill, supportive, friendly. I was like, what? I don't know. I was like, what's going on? I was waiting to see the roasting, and I was like, oh my goodness. I found the sensitive side of the remixers this morning.
Oh, that's not by accident. That's
okay.
People are in the energy. It's actually something I wanted to talk about today with everyone. It's an interesting time cosmologically. We're in the aftermath of the summer solstice, which was Sunday night, late night. And it's the energy that's in the air is really about enjoying the sun, being bright, externalizing, connecting with folks. We want to reach out and touch people right now. and just reflecting on the things that we've been trying to grow, checking them out and seeing what we've manifested. Togetherness, it's the sense that it's kind of like the mood in the atmosphere for a lot of reasons. We're coming off Father's Day, Juneteenth. We're just feeling all of the connects right now, I think.
Right. That was an unplanned segue that was perfectly done. I just shout out to you for that. And again, people, if you haven't seen it, you got to see the Juneteenth celebration that Dr. Ichile brought us to. I was thoroughly impressed. Everybody looked beautiful. It was a wonderful ceremony, and all kinds of. I mean, it was great.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to kind of give a recap and also kind of let folks know about some other stuff that was missed because it almost didn't get fully into full speed ahead until after I cut. So I want to first shout out Ricky Ryan in the chat, one of our chat stars and I second and third all the votes for Ricky to have a show on Black Power Media because her analysis is just always on point. So it was just amazing to just see her up close, personal. So I think sometimes people in the BPM family and community, like if they see us in the streets, you know, like we would assume that would be like, oh wow, it's you. But I'm the opposite. If I see any of y'all in the streets, I wonder if she was like overwhelmed, like, did she just run up to me in COVID in my face? You know? Oh my God. But
Really a stalker.
you know, just lightweight stalking, nothing too serious. But I have some photos I wanted to share from Juneteenth, if I may. Let me see if I can share my screen. Yeah. Here we go. Can you all see this?
Come out.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm just
So
laughing at how close she got to the screen to do that. You know?
This is a picture of our 5 organizers whom we interviewed ahead of time. These sisters from Baltimore are just amazing. And I mean, even the second from the right, the sister Nika, like I just found out more about her work with an organization she founded called Fight Blight in Baltimore. So again, each of them is just a heavyweight in her own right. So it's just amazing to have them there kind of on a spiritual tip, but like they got boots to the ground on all kinds of really important work. The drummers are there. And that's our good friend, Sister Ryan, who kind of showed up and gave her energy, gave offerings to the ancestor altar. Came with a little companion who also was into it. And these are just pictures that I just found were just amazing. These young people were giving offerings at the ancestor altar. So I wanted us to just remind ourselves this is like a whole family affair. And just also beautiful dancers, you know. So that is just some of the extra stuff people didn't get to see in detail, and also I had to switch phones during the thing, so the second half, the quality of the images aren't as good on the video if you watch, but we got a chance to do kind of the traditional Juneteenth thing where people gave speeches. We got the chance to obviously share some good food. I cut out the video and I kind of stopped recording because people were having some spiritual experiences that they may or may not have wanted on camera. But they were powerful. When we get into this counterclockwise circle and we start to move our bodies, this is not for nothing. The point is to induce create an energy circuit, to create trance, if you will. And some people, you know, got open and certain energies came into the space. And what that does is it helps us to open up to delivering of messages. So one of the messages that we received from Eshu, he came down on one of the sisters, and that's an Orisha that deals with roadways and pathways, and he's thought of as a trickster, a masculine energy that has to do with the challenges and trials and tribulations of life. So we're out here in Baltimore. We're at one of the ports where our ancestors were brought in chains, and Eshu is sitting there. I'm looking at this woman who's just sitting by the edge of the water, and she's definitely doesn't look like she looked before, and her voice is very deep all of a sudden, and she's just like, it's not her, it's me. And I'm like, oh, well, I've interacted before. So I'm like, okay, welcome. And the message that Eshu delivered through this woman was that something that everyone, he wanted everyone to hear. And the message was, all of this is not the past. Like we're talking about the past. It's important that we sit together and remember the past. People talked about their ancestors, but like we are them. We're not different from our ancestors. The energy is continuous. It's not a break. It didn't break when those people died. It didn't break when they went into the water. We are the people in the water. We are the ancestors who jumped off the ships. We are the ancestors who were brought here in chains and worked in this land. We are all of them. We have the same bodies, the same blood. We drink in the same water that was on earth back then. You know, we are them, and we have to see it as such. Another thing is we had some white spectators or would-be spectators who came, as they usually do, and kind of, and it's not just that they didn't come to participate. They came to like sit back and like watch as if we were performing, and it wasn't a performance, right? So much about Juneteenth is kind of dangerously being pushed close to being performative and corporatized. And we are like the opposite of that. When we're on code, we are the opposite of that. And so we saw these folks sitting on the periphery of the event, just kind of watching and eating and, you know, leaning back. And I actually asked one lady to leave. I just was like, this is a closed event. And she was like, well, I was just here to look at the ship. Like we were next to an actual ship, a boat. And then so she got really mad, but I just insisted. So she left. But then some other people were on the ship and they decided they wanted to watch. So Eshu was like, you know, it's okay. You know, they really are upset and uncomfortable with us having our own thing, but they're the ones who brought us here. So,
that's really wild.
So we're here. So, and we're here for as long as we want to be here until we decide not to be. And so that was, and lots of other things. It was like affirming. So in any case, some ancestors came through. Some people were talking about their ancestors, and then the ancestors showed up. Like I have a friend in the Chesapeake Conscious Society whose grandfather showed up. And again, for those of you, you know, for some people it's spookism, and you all really, we don't understand how these things work. But for someone who has seen this and is very much grounded in reality, I'm like, okay, this woman is a very feminine person. She's a very soft-spoken person. And then all of a sudden she's sitting there smoking a cigar, sitting like looking like my granddaddy, like the body posture, the voice, the carriage. And her grandfather came to visit. He likes to smoke. So whenever she calls him, he just enjoys being in the body and having a smoke for the day, you know? So, and had some interesting things to say and interact with folks. And I think that's medicine. And how that's medicine, let me help explain this. How that's medicine is for people who are involved in this type of work. Freedom is not abstract. It is a way of finding and practicing freedom in your body and remembering who you are, remembering who your ancestors were, so that we don't get stuck in this, well, my ancestor was the first Negro to be affirmed by whiteness. Who were you outside of that? What do you have that is valuable outside of that? Where is your power? What does freedom look like? Having little spaces of freedom in your body to just move how you move and be how you want to be. That's what it gives us. So we know what we're fighting for. So we know what we're striving for. And so we know who we're accountable to, and we remember that, right? This was not Juneteenth sponsored by Coca-Cola. It was completely sponsored by the ancestors. I also wanted to put a note out there that when you all saw me in the video put the apples on the ancestor altar, that was not traditional. Don't just throw food and fruit up on the altar like I did. I'm still struggling with how to be a journalist and participate at the same time. So Ricky actually did her offering properly. She spoke words over and offered it in from her heart, as other people did. So don't look at me as protocol on that video. That is not what, don't do what I did. Do what I say, not what I do, right? And so we did a ring shout. And that is really also, like I said, going back to the importance of the ring shout, historical. A lot of the dance movements you will see in that video are connected to the type of physical work that we did, and nurturing babies, picking things, you know, fruits and vegetables from the ground, milking cows. Like, these movements are actual gestures of the kind of the daily lives of our people, because we understood that even the mundane is sacred. Even the things that we do with our daily lives have value. We even, Eshu asked us to sing the song Baltimore since we were here. So we had a sister Amma who showed up and just lifted the song Baltimore, and then like got exegetical with the lyrics of Nina Simone's song Baltimore and broke down the lyrics of the song and what that has to do with poverty and like family healing and drug use and abuse and all these issues that we're facing in Baltimore, right? And then we left. I had 3 Juneteenth events to go to. And on my way out, though, we're driving through blighted Baltimore on our way out the city, and we passed Dunbar High School. And I see a brother standing out right in front of the high school with his hands up and his eyes closed, and he's just praying toward the sun. And I felt like that was like a perfect way to end that morning event. It was kind of just crazy to witness. Because it wasn't even in the collective. He was doing his own thing. And I'm assuming he was Muslim. But it was just beautiful to see, like, it was just like an affirmation that like these things matter to us. Speaking of praying toward the sun, we are still in the energy of the solstice. So get out and get you some sun. Next week, in the medicine bag, we will be doing a sun salutation, which is a Kemetic yoga sequence. So please be ready to get out of your seats. If I wasn't still unpacking boxes, we would do that today. And I'll end my little rant with a Father's Day greeting to all the fathers, the babas, the dads, the papas. And I especially want to salute Mamadi Keita. Mamadi Keita. For those of us who practice African drum and dance culture, Mamadi Keita is pretty much the reason why we know what we know about djembe culture, about Manding culture. And Mamadi Keita comes from Guinea. He just passed away on the 21st. Mamadi Keita was a part of that first generation of young people in Guinea under Sekou Touré who were chosen to represent the traditional cultures and arts of their region in Guinea to show the world the beauty of the revolution and why they fought, what they fought to preserve, and what we can look forward to in this process of decolonization. So this is where Mamadi comes from the national ballet, the Joliba of Guinea. So he was able to travel around not just the country, but the world representing Guinea. And then he brought djembe culture across the ocean to us here. And so a lot of the people who study djembe culture, you study that because of Mamadi Keita. He brought Manding culture to the world, essentially. So people who are drummers and dancers are feeling this loss very, very, very deeply this week. So if you see a drummer, show him some love.
Give the drummer some.
Drummer some. Yes. And yeah, we salute you, Mamadi. May you be received in love. And yep, Ashe.
Ashe, right on. Thank you very much.
That is awesome right there. I mean, just the part that you just said about bringing the culture of revolution, the importance of that particular aspect of the culture, because of the fact that I don't think we look beyond just certain aspects of revolution. We look at the fighters, we look at the soldiers, you know what I mean? We look at the quote unquote speakers, but we don't look at the folks, we don't look at the cultural workers, you know what I mean? And the cultural workers are important because of the fact that, they give us that rhythm and that desire to fight, you know what I mean? So yeah. Definitely, big up to him and his work, you know what I mean? And, may his works, live on. And apparently they will, because of the fact that there will always be drummers. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful thing, man. One of the things you said too, you said my ancestors were the first to be affirmed by whiteness, talking about how folks are always happy to say that my grandfather was the first Tuskegee Airman, or my great-great-grandfather was a Buffalo Soldier. You know what I mean? And it's like we forget why we're here and what our role should be. And I wonder sometimes if our great-grandparents and grandparents and those who came before us knew what that fight was about, or what their reasoning was to join in the fight, and if they were as proud as some of us are for their participation in maintaining oppression and domination by default. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? For whatever reason. It's not a diss because of the fact that I don't know everyone's reasonings, you know what I mean? But I do know that I don't think that in many cases, if they could have looked down the barrel of time, they'd have been proud to participate in some of the things that we acknowledge.
Agreed.
I was also fascinated by the whole white presence and security piece, and I've been in a number of spaces, and folks are not always willing to do even what you did to tell white onlookers they can't be there, even in a nominally public space, and even in black spaces. Or what are thought to be black spaces, when white folks would show up, there would be often a reluctance to be the one to say, no, you got to go. And sometimes the people who are willing to do that make even their own community uncomfortable. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. And I even thought of it that morning. I was like, are white people going to just, and then I was like, nah, because it's Baltimore's early in the morning. And when there's more than 2-3 black people, white people don't show up. But then there are always those who, that imperial ethic kicks in and they're like, oh, hell no. If they're gathering, I'm definitely watching.
Yeah. It was interesting because we couldn't, the ones that were on the boat, we couldn't, it was their private boat. So we couldn't tell them to go someplace, to leave.
Right.
And so they're definitely like, they got drinks. They made like a whole morning of it and just sat and drank coffee and like watched us like we were dancing for them. It was very, so we just eventually just had to like tune it out. I imagine that's what Congo Square was like in New Orleans. And other places. The same thing happened. I had to go from Baltimore down to Waldorf for another Juneteenth event with my sister. And there was this creepy guy like standing behind the stage, like watching from behind a tree. It was, and someone called security on him, but it was, and then another white woman showed up after he was asked to leave. And like, she was literally on stage recording with her phone, like, in the staging area, like, and I don't understand. Well, I do understand, but it is interesting because it's as if everything's for them. There's nothing in there that just clicks sometimes for some of them, and that's just like, maybe this isn't for me. Let me just, out of respect,
right,
remove myself.
Well, they've just given us, permission now to have the ceremony by federalizing it. So. Now they really do feel ownership. I'm doing my Jared Ball impersonation, my sarcasm. I mean, and that's the wild thing to me. I feel like Juneteenth, for dozens and years, sometimes you had to know where to go to find Juneteenth celebrations to have remembrances like this. And over the last few years, again, someone decided to try to make this sort of not only commercial in some ways, or folks have decided somehow to commercialize, but now to be the next thing that people go now to federalize in terms of this, that gives it somehow some more credence, or it makes it somehow more important to us as a people. And again, that sometimes our own folks go to the very folks who, we're remembering Juneteenth because your folks, your government, your system oppressed our people. I don't need you recognizing it as if you've done something now, hundreds of years later, when nothing has been accomplished, at your by your based on what you do or whatever. You're the very reason why we have to remember this somewhat solemn occasion of the enslavement of our folks, the entrapment, the kidnapping of our people. And now, people are gathering around to watch you sign off on it like you're the new Abraham Lincoln, right?
While not repairing the situation. So,
right.
Yes.
Hey,
but listen. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's no other species on the planet as arrogant as a European that would come to stand next to a ship on Juneteenth.
They were on the ship.
Look,
I mean, the audacity. I mean, you motherfuckers are like.
But let's do this.
Amazing.
Let's bring up the ear doctor for one more of his segments, because then after that, I think we have the perfect wrap up given to wrap all this up, given the new film brought to us by Black Entertainment Television. So, ear doctor, come on back up, man, and take us to your next segment, and then. Let's talk about this Imperial Karen, and then
I do want to say something about the Juneteenth. They just had IKEA here in Atlanta, I believe, put watermelon and chicken on their menu.
Stop playing.
No, they didn't.
For Juneteenth.
You playing?
Really?
I'm not playing. And the employees was like, "Yo, what is this about?" But the question I have is, how do they, how is this a holiday where white people they're supposed to sit back and watch and understand what's going on, or do we invite them to come and do the wobble with us?
Oh, wow.
It's I'm just wondering.
Hey, but look, it's perfect that IKEA would do that because they're going in there is a trap anyway. You get so their whole thing is to trap you and enslave and imprison you. So it's perfect that they would throw in some watermelon and chicken. That's some triflingness, but
yeah. They do. I'm gonna give y'all the
last 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give y'all the weather report real quick though.
Remix.
All right, we're going to try this weather report real quick again. We had a little technical problems, but anyway, let's get back to it. So the high in Hampton, Virginia today is 73. Big up to Hampton University. Big up to them people right there. Let's take it to Rapid City, South Dakota, where they have a high of 95 degrees today. It's going to be pretty hot in South Dakota. Ain't saying I'm going to be there, but big up to people in Rapid City. Now let's take it to Trinidad, Cuba. Trinidad, Cuba has a high today of 88 degrees. Now let's take it down over to Santa Maria, Cabo Verde, all the way over to the motherland where they got a high of 80 degrees. And then let's take it to where it is colder than the white man. And I'm not talking about just a regular white man. I'm talking about, well, first let's talk about South Pole, Antarctica, where the high today is negative 66 degrees. But let's get to where it's colder than the white man and not just a regular white man. We talking about Ronald Reagan. That's right. Let's talk about Ronald Reagan. Reagan's own intelligence agencies participated in the urban crack cocaine explosion and used profits from the crack sales to buy weapons for wars that Congress refused to fund, mainly the Contras in Nicaragua. And you also have the scientists begging for public money for research about Reagan keeping silent for years about AIDS and stuff like that. In private, he was telling his own Surgeon General that the carriers of the disease were getting what they deserved. Ronald Reagan, boy, that's a cold white man. But that's what it is for the weather report for the day. Now, I'm sure my people on the morning show have more to say about Ronald Reagan, but that's what it is for the day. So let's get back to the weather, to the morning show crew. All right.
Yeah, he died during my wedding. So
an added blessing.
I always raise a glass. I always take credit. I take credit for that.
That's better than rain.
Hey, and please go check out our interview with DC hip hop legend Enoch the Seventh Prophet, where we talked about the Reagan era, his musical his album, and we talk about that history and get into some detail on that, and talk about the wedding toast.
And thank you, doctor. I felt like you read Wikipedia really well this morning. You got the history down, son. That was fantastic.
Oh, I was confused. I was like,
good, son.
I had to look into the screen like.
Hey, that was good.
Wow.
Go ahead, boy.
Good job.
I be reading.
Love.
I be reading.
Yeah, the new Oliver North. But anyway. Shout out to the doctor.
So look at here, before we wrap, man, to extend Eli's discussion here, this new movie is apparently coming out that is made by a Black director, Coke Daniels, and is being compared to Get Out. So I thought we should, and it seems, perfectly relevant given our last discussion.
Guess this is a long way from East Point.
Baby, you just gotta give it a chance.
Tell me about your new neighbors.
They're Black. Do you mind keeping it down? If you don't comply, I'll tell the manager.
Somebody's taking home security serious.
Hi, I am Karen Drexler. I'm your neighbor. You need to be taking your trash cans off the curb right when the trash is picked up.
Is she nice?
Yeah, She's nice.
Wait a minute. We have a white entitled neighbor named Karen.
Karen. Hey, enjoy yourself.
There she is, slaving away in the kitchen. I've come across some very suspecting teenagers.
Suspecting?
Can you please hurry up? Please, they're very aggressive. Yep.
I left my wallet with my ID at home. Leave us alone. We didn't do anything.
How the heck did you end up moving to this neighborhood? Next thing you know, we have criminals. You take care of him, and I will take care of her.
Would you mind stepping out of the car?
My office has uncovered some disturbing information on her and her brother.
She doesn't like black people.
We have a search warrant.
Well, I'm black.
I know, she doesn't like you either.
I want to sell the house.
What'd I do? You can't tell me, huh?
We are living next door to a racist. You went in her house? You wouldn't want your wife to know our little secret, right?
I was not standing police procedure back there.
What do we have here?
We got a hammer. Everything looks like nails.
You people are very angry.
Shut your mouth, boy.
Bad things happen to people that don't comply.
Yeah. What you all think about that on first look?
Who you say produced that?
I don't know the producer. The director is Coke Daniels, who all I know is described as a black director. I don't know anything about him or his work, and I don't know.
Like he was on coke when he made it. But anyway, keep it moving.
I feel like I've seen the whole movie already.
There it is.
It's like
I just love the fact. I mean, mass media can do anything and take anything and make it a movie and just present it back to you. And all these things. I mean, one, the first thing I noticed is that it's an upscale black couple. So of anybody who doesn't deserve racism, it's an upscale black couple, of course, who moves to a white neighborhood. So that's established that plot line right away.
Well, where would poor white people be living? Where would a poor white for Karen to be Karen, she can't be poor, right? So a black family moving into a poor or next to a poor white woman.
They call the cops on all kind of black folks. They ain't got to be where you live. I'm just saying it's a certain scenario that's there. They're setting up a certain scenario for you, the audience, to go into it saying,
Karen can be poor. The black people can't, have to be wealthy though. Like they have in order for us to care about them and their outcome.
That's an amazing film. I mean, it's just like, are you talking about capitalizing off of our struggle? It's just, this shit is like nonstop. I guess that's the new slave film. You know what I mean? For a while, it was like all of these films about freedom and liberation and slavery and 12 years of this and 4 days of that and the butler and all that bullshit. And now all of a sudden it's Karen.
Yeah. And then we have a few, like a little while ago, we had the brother that made the Nat Turner film, who did the cop killing film, right? The cop killing black folks film. And with his righteous anger goes into the police station, goes through the whole trouble, taking the cops hostage, of staging a trial only to try to show the cop his humanity. By not, of course, taking him out for killing his son. And in the end, of course, the black man gets killed by the cops. Again, the only people dying in the movie are black folks. White folks get to regain their humanity through our black death. And then that's considered, again, something of a redeemable picture or great insight into the struggles of police brutality and racism. When it's all about, oh my God, he understands how he did wrong when he killed your son. Now everything's put back together. We can go on with our lives.
The one thing I found shocking about that trailer was that BET actually beat Tyler Perry to the punch. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we could have predicted that shit right there. I mean, this is like a movie actually called Karen. I mean,
Tyler Perry's would be, Medea moves next door to Karen. It would be like the big showdown, Medea versus Karen. Like that's what's coming.
Police on me, motherfucker.
So So I know Ear Doctor is saying because we were going to do a top 3 movie segment today. My suggestion, even as I'm doing it on air, would be that we hold off on that and get into that tomorrow, or and have a full segment, because I think I would like to take a little more time to lay out why our top 3 is our top 3 in contradistinction to films like this one, where, by the way, to Yelly, to your point, it's pretty clear just in the trailer that all of white supremacist violence is being reduced to the individual Karen and the individual bad cop, not anything institutional or statewide. So once they get rid of this bad neighbor and this bad cop, I'm sure everything will end up pretty, well taken care of. Yep. So,
been a good week.
So yes, so Ear Doctor, you raised a good point in our chat. To those in the audience, we would encourage you to prepare your top 3 movies for our segment tomorrow morning here on the Remix, so we can compare notes. And what are your top 3 movies of all time? And we're going across, genre free, all that kind of good stuff. So just pick your top 3. However you want to phrase it. If you were stuck on an island with one streaming service and only 3 videos left on your account, whatever, because I know we don't have DVDs anymore. So whatever it would be.
Shout out to First Home Tuber for that $10 we see up there.
Oh, word!
Yeah,
we got it. We got a super chat right on. Good looking out.
Salute to that. We appreciate that. We might
shout out to being on that island that you can do your streaming, but you can't get off. Appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting conundrum to be in. You got just enough Wi-Fi to get your 3 movies, but you can't get enough Wi-Fi to call for help. So I mean, it's a tough situation, is what I'm saying.
It's definitely a Tyler Perry movie.
I'm telling you, Madea versus Karen is in production. I'm promise you, it's in the pipeline.
Hey, we can do it ourselves.
Madea versus Karen. I hope everybody loses. Can that be can they all lose?
Everybody.
Okay. Could it be a 0-sum game or whatever? Because that's just a lose-lose. By the way, BET, never black owned, I would argue, because if John C. Malone gives you $500,000 to Bob Johnson's $15,000 to start it, it's not black owned. The advertisers have always driven the content. So now that it's a Viacom product, it stands to reason that this would be what is touted as black entertainment television. So I think it's good that we're going to do a top 3 to maybe offer up an alternative black entertainment television on BPM. Anyway,
now BPM Friday. Don't forget, we got Cornell West coming.
That's right. Friday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. We will. Yep. And we're probably going to have an 8 a.m. guest as well, because the Cordell West is a BPM special. But I think I'm going to have an I Mix What I Like 8 a.m. morning thing to keep the remixers happy. So don't worry. We're going to have something for you Friday morning before Cornell West gets here for his visit to BPM. We're looking forward to that as well. A lot of other good things happening on the channel. Please get caught up if you haven't already. Make sure you there's some things I'm sure I missed. A Black Myths podcast is premiering today. Their look, I believe, at our algorithms colorblind. So I look forward to checking that out. Yep, that's today at 7:00 p.m. And what else is coming up? Oh, 7:00 Friday night, by the way, we're going to have just announced the CBS. Dr. CBS is coming back for a special live wrap up of The Last Dope Intellectual season 1. So Friday at 7:00 in advance of Renegade Culture at 9. So, and of course, tomorrow for our Remix Friday morning. Thursday.
Yeah. That's the Renegade. I mean, the Black Power Media or Renegade Friday. I mean, excuse me, Remix.
That's right.
Too many damn shows around here. Also, have your workout gear on tomorrow, because Balogun OJ Tade will be here tomorrow teaching some joint, and I know Kamal can't wait to get down on the mat. You know what I mean? Him, the head doctor, for this 20 minutes of training that they're gonna be getting tomorrow.
How many minutes?
20. 9 a.m. That's
all
right.
All
Get
right.
your workout suits on.
Tell our brother to step a little bit away from the camera, though. No live. Step a little away from it. He gets too close like that once in a while. It's like too much.
Hey man, that's all right. I'm sure you watching now. You just told him.
I just told him.
Anyway,
Good.
Yeah, you checking out the Remix Morning Show. We
Yes,
appreciate
indeed.
you all checking in, rocking with us.
Thanks
Thank
to
you,
Ear
Dr.
Doctor.
Yele, for coming through. There was a rumor that you was that you got on one of those ships and sailed off. You know what I mean? So I'm glad you made it back. You know what I mean?
It's in the plans. It's in
the
the
white
plans.
folks didn't take you and you know say, look, you come into the island of Patmos with us. This is how we doing it. You know what I mean?
Now I feel like that would have been another Amistad situation had they tried that.
Most definitely.
No doubt.
Yelly would have been sailing that joint into the port, standing at the front on the bow, like, "What's up now?"
I mean, picking us up in Atlanta. We ain't even got no water down here. Pulled up on the block. Like, yo, how you get that thing up there? He came with the ancestors. Look for me in the whirlwind. With Bobby in there.
All right, Joe, man.
Peace, everybody.
Peace, everybody.
Peace. Yes. Revolution. We out.